the measure tool. The measure tool. So right here it is, the measure tool. Right, and of course we can access our tools by selecting them from here as well. I rarely do that. Now the measure tool deals with all the measure changes that we would want to have. So here we have it. Measure tool comes with a menu, and the menu mainly handles regions. Okay, measure tool mainly drop down there mainly handle regions. So I have selected region of 3 bars there, 3 measures. Alright, so I can show the measure numbers for those 3 measures by simply selecting show measure numbers. Let me use my selection tool to line up these things the way I would want them, but so that the items are not being blocked. Alright, so let's do that again. Let's just make a selection, and you can drag select. See the broken lines for where my selection is going to be. Go to the measure tool. Here we have the measure drop down, and we just say show measure numbers, and those measure numbers would appear. We can use the context menu, which is a pop-up menu, and we access it by right clicking. And once we get here, we edit enclosure, so we can decide what our enclosure is going to be. Rectangle, octagon, whatever it's gonna be. Alright, we can change the heights. Right, and there it is that we have the measure number in an enclosure. Right, so it makes it prominent. So you can select the measures, you can show all. By default the first measure number in each system is shown, but if there are specific measure numbers that you would want to show, you can do it manually, or you can go into the measure number regions. Alright, with this we can create different regions. Now the application of creating regions, let's just add some regions here. I just selected the add button, is that you could have one document potentially and restart the measure numbers at different points in the document. Say that you want to have one file with 4 lessons or 4 piano lessons, right? So each lesson you want to have it as a separate piece. So essentially you would want to restart the numberings. The measure region numbering helps you to do that. So if the first measure numbering is from 1 to 10, the next one would be from 11 to 20. Right? So from 11 to 20 is displayed as 1 to 10. And say for the next one going to be from 21, so that we need 15 measures. So that would be what, 21 to 35 or so. I am not getting what I was expecting. 21 to 30. Alright, I kind of figure out what has took place. I am now going beyond the measure, the expanse of measures that I possibly have. Let's see if that is the case, because I think I finished on something like 24. I'm not sure. But these two are good enough for me to demonstrate. And so with this you can show in the score, right, on the top of the staff. You can put it at the bottom of the staff if you want. You can try that. We can provide an enclosure, right, as well as we can show on every, say I want to go on show it on every 5 measures beginning with measure 1. And we're going to be displaying an enclosure, and we're going to be using rectangle this time around. Right, okay, alright, so basically that's it, and we'll come to these Alright, let me just deal with it immediately. A multi-measure rest will show how that can be created. But these are the settings if you want to break a multi-measure rest to force it to show what bar number comes at certain points. Especially for rehearsal markings and rehearsal bar numbers, this may be necessary because you want to say to everybody in the ensemble that we're coming from X measure, and everybody should be able to find that measure number on their score, whether they have notes or rest. So this is the purpose of to break the multi-measure rest to show the measure numbering, right, and these other options there. So let's look at what's taking place. So we see immediately after measure 10, we start from measure 1. Right here is actually showing measure 1. So measure 9, measure 10, and then it goes to measure 1. Alright, so on the next left hand part, we have measure 4, and of course we told it to put in the square brackets every 5 measures, so it would include measure 1, which I'm certain it did. Here it is. Alright, and it has it at the bottom, so is it both at the top and at the bottom? 6, okay. So we're using the measure tool to do things such as measure numbers. You can also move the bar lines, respace the using the handle, the measures, okay. So we have created 2 regions, right, with different display and different setting, and you could allow it to be only in the page view or in the left to right views, which are the scroll view and the studio view. Well, the studio view is in a scroll view anyway. Right. So this is what the measure regions can do in terms of your measure numberings. Alright, let's move on to other things that the measure does. Context menu, right? Can edit the measure attribute. Right? So the measure attribute, you can actually go to each measure. So if you notice, we had 2 regions, so it's the same region 1 colon first measure. And when you get up to 10, it goes region 2, the first measure. Right? And if we then thereafter, it jumped to 21 and 22 because those would have been right. So as I was stating previously, that the reason why we had problems with creating a 3rd region was because the range of which I wanted from 21, I was trying to put in 31 and it stops at 26, so that wouldn't have worked. So right here, and you see the measure attributes, it has that. So say for example, I want to put a final bar line at the end of my first region right there, and right there I want to begin on the next measure, which is the start of the second region. I want to begin a new staff system. I can put it there, right? I can force it to break a multi-measure rest. But you can show different things in the staff, such as the staff and group names. You can put extra space at the beginning if you want to push the notes more into the music to the right, or if you want to push it more to the left, you can put in your space at these junctures. Alright, so if you are that meticulous to calculate every inch, then you can use all of these different measurements. There you can also manually drag. I normally use the beat chart spacing. I don't have to think about a lot of things. Alright, so that's okay. Alright, so right here and then, immediately, you see it breaks it into a new staff system. So should it have been that I would have had, let me just tidy this up so that I kind of get an idea about its application. Good. So I would have moved that down. Alright, and then I could use my text tool here. And whatever the title is, another piece. Alright, right. Another piece. That will be the title of my other piece, another piece. Good. I could change the size. I could change the style. Give me bold. Alright, so all of those things. This could be my second piece on my page. Alright, so I basically used the dialog screen to do just what I did. You can also fit the music. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 measures here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want 5 measures, but it's not flowing that way, so I can fit it. So it does that. I think it's is it edit? It's utilities. It's in utilities fit measure, right? So I can say from measures 1.1 to 1:10, right? Region 1 and then the measure numbers. Region, measure numbers, alright? I want to lay out 5 measures per system. Now just go ahead, okay. Now what you realize is that it puts a symbol of a lock right there, and it adjusts the systems accordingly. So there we have it. So this would be like the first piece, and this would be like the second piece that would be placed on in our page. So right there we use the text tool, we use the layout tool, we use the measure tool, all in tandem to get the various results that we've wanted. Now you can also use the context clue for the measure tool. So you go to the measure tool, I have to select the measure tool, then right click. So that was the attributes. We can also change the bar line style, so I put a double bar line there. You can put different types of bar lines and stuff like that. Now, let's see, do we have any area in this music where we have extended amount of rest? Okay. Let's delete something and create some kind of rest, just so that you understand what is taking place. I'm going to be creating 2 bars of rest. Let's see if we can do that. Create. Alright, why didn't it create? Because there are nodes there, and a multi-measure rest should have rest in there. So I'm going to just delete the nodes from this bar here and this bar. So I use my selection tool, select it, and I want to clear the nodes, clear all items from there. Alright, so again, in the selection tool, I'm getting the same menu that I would have gotten with my measure tool. Alright, so the both are closely linked and related. So I have my 2 measures selected, and I'm coming here, create, and here I have my multi-measure rest. So of course that's logical. You cannot create rest if you have nodes input there. Okay, so we're gonna try something else. In the scroll view it won't show, so I'm just going to undo. Now I'm going to redo the same thing. I'm going to clear the items, clear all items. I'm going to create a multi-measure rest right here. Good, so it doesn't show, doesn't mean that it isn't there. Now in the page view, guess what? It doesn't show, doesn't mean that it isn't there, but in those two measures we have to pretty much demonstrate the other notes that will be played while there is rest. I'm going to show you the use of the multi-measure rest in just a moment. So you can add bar lines, you can add multi-measure rest. We're going to document. Now document, we're going to be managing what's happening. We're going to look at the part. I think it was in the auto part that we placed the rest. So it now demonstrates only the alto section, right? So you can create the multi-measure rest right there, okay? So everything that would have been placed in the master document is actually shown here as well. Let's go back to the main score. Alright, so it doesn't show there, but when we are in our alto music, just for the alto recorder, then there it is, multi-measure rest. Okay, let's get back to the score. So make a note of that, how we move from square to part. Alright, so it's pretty much laid out the way that we would want. Let's move on to utilizing these two, wow, here. Good. I'm gonna lay out these four. So we have from section 2, bar 1 of region 2 through to the end, which is 26. Laying it out, treating multi-measure rest as one measure. We're laying it out 4 measures per system. Alright, so here we kind of have our music all lined up. So let's look at it. So we can see the various systems and how they are extended on the page. And up for a closer look. Alright, so we see how the measure tool is helping us where that is concerned. Alright, things like this do happen, so we just have to withdraw this and allow it to stand just like that. When I have entered the first section. Alright, if you're really meticulous about this, we could continue the ending, not putting in any figure there, and just allow it to be a marking. Alright, removing that, so it seems to be a continuation. Right, pretty good. Alright, so we're on to using our measure tool. We can put in multi-measure rest. That's what we just saw. Basically, we can use the shortcut for cut and copy, and as well as we can select it here. So let's copy that, and it's possible that we could just drop it somewhere else. By right clicking, you could paste it, or you could do a multiple paste. But ask how many times is it that you want to place it in the score. Horizontally means that you will place it from that position going to the right. Vertically mean that you will place it on that staff and on the staff above is the default. If you place it to the bottom of the score, it will continue pacing downwards. Alright, so copy and it paste it right there. Okay, so if you paste in multiple, let's go 2 times. So realize the same thing will be here, the same thing will be there. Okay, alright, so we have various options of paste in, and to move and to copy layers. Of course, we realize that you could select all the items or clear all the items. Say for example, we just want to clear the articulations that we have here. Clear selected items. We've got the screen that we would select what it is that we want to clear from it, and clear none. Then I'm going to check the expression. Alright, so whatever else would be there, it would still be there, but I'm clearing expressions and articulations. So okay, and just that goes away, the notes didn't go away. Alright, looking at clear selected items again, so you select whatever items that you would want to clear from it. Let's go through and see what they are. So you could remove a lyrics from text and all of those kind of things. Alright, okay, and if you say clear all items, everything will be removed. Very well. Now in terms of transposing, you could transpose up, and the interval, it could be diatonically, and it could be chromatically. You could transpose by octaves, right? As well as there is that key for transposition. We would be in our selection tool to do that. So 7 is up and is moving up diatonically in a second, or 6 is down moving diatonically in step. You could use 8, which goes down an octave, or 9, which goes up an octave. See if there are any others. Alright, I'm just checking things out. I am not sure what the other numbers do. Good. Alright, so those are some of the transpositional things that can be done either in the selection tool or in the measure tool. You can also insert a measure or add a measure. Inserting puts it between the other music, adding a measure puts it at the end of the music. Right here we can just change the key right in the middle there, add a key change. So a lot of things can be accessed. Just about everything can be accessed in the selection and the measure options. I'm going to change the clef right there just to put it to the bass clef, and immediately you see the bass clef comes in and the transposition, it writes the pitch accordingly. Alright. Okay, we did look at repeats, so all that we access from the repeat tool can be accessed right here in the context menu. You can also edit the beat chart, and the beat chart is what has to do with the spacing of the notes by moving the angle brackets. Alright, so you have the fixed areas and then you can make them movable. Alright, so we have gone through the measure tool, and the measure tool is really like a window into most of the other tools that you use on a regular basis. Alright, say for example something weird. Okay, right here we have a rest, but we do not want to display this rest just for this bar. We want other rests to be displayed, but just for this bar we don't want to display that. We can select a staff style. Now staff style can be accessed in the staff tool by using the context menus. There are staff styles, 21 of them that are here, right? And let's see if there is one that hides the rest. Blank notation with rest. Blank notation all layers, right? So in the staff tool right here, we realize that we have something is edited here, which shows by an opaque gray line that there is a staff that is added. you could clear the staff. It shows the staff that is added, right? And you could decide if you just want to use the staff for the score or for the part. You can clear it from the score, just use it in the parts only, alright, or you can use it in the score only, alright. So here it is in the score only, alright. So when it is cleared from the score only, it doesn't show, it shows normal there. But should we go into the parts, that's in the tenor recorder, is it? I wonder if I'm going to see it. Alright, let's reapply it. Alright, let's do this over. Edit score. And we are going to be putting blank notation all. Right? You could apply the staff, could apply the style, current, score, or part. Then you just look for stamp notation, right? All layers. So it's blank right there now. Right? So in the part, you would want to clear it from the parts only. So it's not in the part. Let's go back to the score. However, we notice that it's in the score. It's not showing here. Right? But when you would have gone to the part, it would be showing, okay? So you could make your edits to localize to the score, or you could allow it to be localized to the parts. So this is just general. This is general. I will have to do a lecture on creating your own staff styles. So this is something that can be accessed from the staff tool, but guess what? It can also be accessed from your measure tool. So you can clear the staff style. I'm going to clear this one so it removes it. You could apply a staff style. Alright. So I'm going to just use one bar line there, short. One staff line. So settings like this can apply, alright. It's by using the measure tool. And this is what we would have to do, define a staff style, and we would create the staff style, make a new staff style, do the various editings here, allow it to be displayed in the context menu, or allow it to be copyable. And if you do not display it in the context menu, then it's difficult for you to access it. Alright. After you created it, you could say, okay, well, we're not going to be creating any now. So that's the staff style for you. Right? Actually, we should just clear it. Staff style, create staff style. Clear it. Good. Right? So, having gone through the uses of the major tools, these are the not just basic, but the main tools, we should be able to pretty much work on any document project hereafter.